Today we are taking a look at the basic tools and equipment needed to get started in scale model building. Hi guys, it's James here and welcome to another video. If you're new to the channel, I hope you'll enjoy the various scale model kit builds I've published so far, and if you do, please consider subscribing. I've had a few questions recently on the channel Facebook page from people asking about various tools, paints and weathering techniques, so I thought it'd be an opportunity to share with you what I believe is a basic set of tools and equipment for a beginner to get started in scale model building. Please let me know in the comments below if you think I've missed anything. These won't all be essential, as I know all these tools cost money, but if you build it up slowly over time, it doesn't make too much of a dent in the wallet. So let's begin. First of all, you need a decent place to work, a table or desk that is flat and stable. You don't want to be doing this on your lap. Second, you'll need a cutting mat. I've got two here. In the UK terms, this is an A4 and an A3 version. These are absolutely essential if you don't want to destroy your desk underneath when you start using your hobby knife. First and foremost, I'd recommend getting hold of a scalpel. You'll be surprised just how often you use these. They come in all different shapes and sizes, ranging from the wider handle like this to the more thinner handle traditional X-Acto blade. In addition, I highly recommend you get a set of spare blades because they do get dull quite quickly and you don't want to be left short. Next up, you'll need a pair of tweezers. You'll be again surprised just how often these come in handy for all the different small parts and pieces on the model kit. And if you're like me and you've got big hands, it's really hard to hold them. They all come in all different shapes and sizes. You can buy a pretty basic set from any sort of hobby shop. In the UK, Hobbycraft is a good example. I've had this one set of tweezers for about 10 years and they do a perfect job just as they are. Next, and this is a bit of an optional one, Sprue Cutters. This is a Citadel pair which are reasonably expensive, but you can get cheaper alternatives. They're very handy for getting the actual pieces of the model off the plastic sprues, and you don't want to use your scalpel for cutting quite heavy thick plastic. They give a nice smooth finish and easily maintain the sharpness. Next we're going to move on to glue. There's three basic types of glue you need for scale model building: plastic cement, super glue and PVA white glue. These two examples from Tamiya are slightly different. The white here on the left is thicker for really heavy duty sticking, whereas the extra thin is better for the small detail parts. In effect, what this does is it basically melts the plastic, melts the styrene, so that the two pieces touches together in effect weld, which is basically exactly the same process as proper welding. Next you can have super glue or ceramiacolite, or crazy glue, depends where you are in the world. Basically this is a pretty sturdy glue. It sticks items together as opposed to welds them, but it's also very handy for gluing pieces like photo etched parts of scale model ships, which you can imagine I do quite a lot of. And lastly you have white glue. Basically this is a posh version of PVA white wood glue. It has the added advantage of the fact that it dries completely clear, so it's very handy if you're using it when sticking together canopies from an aircraft, for example, or headlights from a scale model car, because it dries clear and you don't get any horrible frosting or seam marks. Next, I'd recommend getting a set of clamps. These were really quite cheap from B&Q. I think you get a pack of 10 assorted sizes for about £5. If you don't have any of these, then simple clothes pegs or even rubber bands can do just exactly the same thing. Lastly, in terms of sticking things and holding things together, blue tack. You'll be surprised just how often this comes in handy, so it's always good to have a bit of a supply lying around the house. Next we move on to actual filler. So this is a humble example. It's water soluble, so it makes it really handy to use. So when you're sticking together two items and you have a nasty gap or a seam line you want to get rid of, you can apply a bit of this, let it dry, sand it down, and you'll have a nice smooth finish. That leads nicely on to sanding. So all different sizes and shapes of different sanding materials are available, ranging from your more basic nail file to emery boards, or you can actually get a dedicated model sanding sponge which allows you to bend the sanding to the contours of an item so you don't get any nasty square lines on a curved piece, or if worse comes to worse, some fine grained sandpaper. Next we're going to talk about paint. There's three basic types of paint you can get hold of for scale modelling. You have enamel paint, which is an lacquer based type paint, which you need to use a sort of medium such as turpentine or thinners to get rid of. You have a Tamiya paint like this, which comes in two varieties, enamel and acrylic, which is here. The acrylic is very handy for me. I personally prefer it because it's water soluble and you can wash your brushes in the sink or with some water. And lastly, you have sort of more the dedicated artist oil paint. Again, you'll need a medium such as thinners to get rid of anything off your brush off of that. In order to use your paint, you'll need a set of brushes. Now you can spend lots and lots of money on various very high quality items like Winsor and Newton brushes, but I think you only need 3 basic brushes when you start off. You need a small, a medium and a large. The medium is probably the one you'd use the most in terms of sort of your go-to day-to-day brush. A larger one for getting large quantities of paint down pretty quickly. And lastly, a detail brush for painting all those really tiny, hard to reach pieces. Once you're done with the painting, you want to apply some varnish. I use a couple of different types of varnish. You can have your basic sort of rattle can varnish for covering large areas quite quickly. So it's good to have a gloss varnish and a matte varnish. The gloss is good because if you spray that down first, you won't get any silvering on your decals when you come to apply them later, and then you can cover all of that up again with a matte cover. But in terms of actually sort of small detail pieces, if you ever need to get to that, there's some gloss varnish. Obviously there's matte versions as well, but these are all acrylic based and they're very handy. Masking tape is always a good thing to have in the cupboard or your toolbox. This is a Tamiya tape example. I think it's quite important to spend a little bit extra and get a good set of Tamiya tape or a similar modelling brand, because it's relatively low tack tape, so it doesn't actually stick to the model to such a degree that it could pull off any decals or paint once you stick it down. You can always buy a second set of larger painter's tape to use up on the sort of the larger bog areas just to keep off any overspray, but use the Tamiya tape to form the basis of keeping paint on item A and away from item B. And then talking about decals themselves, you can just use water as the instructions recommend, but then I've always been using this micro scale solution. This is a 2-part process, so you've got a micro sol on the left and a micro set on the right. The two of them together act to basically melt, in effect, the decal so that it can sort of bed down really well into all the nooks and crannies of a model. So imagine putting it over panel lines on the wings of an aircraft, and the set then sort of pulls the decal down onto the plastic to a much more better degree than normal water would. So as I say, these are a good choice of basic tools and equipment you'll need. Yes, they do cost a bit of money over time, but if you sort of spread it out over a couple of months, it won't really make much of a dent in the wallet. There are some other non-essential items which I think we can go on to in a second part of the video. If you'd like to see that, let me know in the comments below, or hit that like button and I can put together a more detailed one. Things like pin vices and so on and so forth. They might come in handy a bit later down the line as your skills advance. So thanks for watching this and sticking through to the end. I hope it was helpful. Please do give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you enjoyed it. And until next time, happy modelling.